Доброе утро, дамы и господа. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Specstorm channel. So this is why, if you're curious, this is why I'm making a video so soon after my last video. We're just gonna open this article, take a good long look at it. Now, you'll remember me discussing Cyclone Freddy in Mozambique and how it returned 4 times to hit this nation again and again and again. So, part of the agenda, of course, Mozambique is the developing world, and the infrastructure there is probably not built to withstand very much. So, to have this many hits from a cyclone, the longest lived cyclone on Earth in history, in recorded history, dropping nearly 3 feet of rain in 24 hours is just mind blowing. Just absolutely mind blowing. Let's take a look.
Cyclone Freddy, which is expected to make landfall again in Mozambique later this week after it struck Madagascar for a second time on Monday. Cyclone Freddy has been wreaking havoc in southeastern Africa since late February, and its death toll has now risen to 21 after it killed 4 people on the Indian Ocean island of Madagascar. The storm has displaced thousands of people in both countries and has already broken records for the strength it has accumulated. And the 8,000-kilometer path it traveled across the Indian Ocean. Cyclone Freddy may become the longest-lasting storm on record, as it has been spinning over the Indian Ocean for 32 days.
Come on.
According to the World Meteorological Organization, it is rare for a storm to make such a move, describing it as a meteorologically remarkable.
Yes, it's a miracle. It's a coincidence. You get 32 days? Give me a break. Seriously.
The longest storm on record is Hurricane John, also known as Typhoon John, that lasted 31 days in 1994. However, given that Cyclone Freddy has periodically weakened over the last 32 days, the WMO says it will take several months to evaluate whether it has broken John's record.
That sounds like a technicality. And any acronym that goes W something O is a body that I am not interested in listening to.
Cyclone Freddy developed off the North Australian coast in early February, and then traveled thousands of kilometers across the southern Indian Ocean, affecting Mauritius and the Réunion, before making landfalls in Madagascar 2 weeks later, and then Mozambique.
God, I hate those robot voices. So really, Cyclone Freddy is like the heat-seeking missile
Take a look at
of
this
cyclones.
Cyclone Freddy when it was at its peak out here in the Indian Ocean. But really, this storm system is not going to be known for how strong it was. It's for how long it has lasted. Because we have to go all the way back to February 4th when this first started to form off of the coastline of Australia. That was over a month ago. It has tracked across the entire Indian Ocean, smashing records along the way. In fact, the most accumulated energy for any tropical system in the southern hemisphere on record before it moved on shore, passing La Reunion out there towards Madagascar.
And I wonder where all of that energy is coming from for this storm to traverse the entire Indian Ocean and make multiple bizarre turns to hit Madagascar and Mozambique multiple times. Interesting.
Moving on shore to Mozambique, then came back over water the Mozambique Channel, and it has once again rapidly re-intensified, back up to about a Cat 2, could be a Cat 3 as it moves off there towards the northwest, moving on shore back again into Mozambique. And like I mentioned, this is breaking records. In fact, Hurricane/Typhoon John in 1994 was the previous record holder for lasting over 31 days. It was out in the Pacific Ocean. This storm system, once it gets evaluated by the World Meteorological Agency, likely has broken that record, for sure has broken that record as well. And as I mentioned, it's really broken the record at the very least for most energy for any storm in the southern hemisphere. Now you might be curious why. Well, there's a lot of factors. Very rare for a long tracking storm system out here. But the sea surface temperatures in the Indian Ocean are above average. For these cyclones out here, that means energy. Remember, cyclones are the same as hurricanes, so just in the southern hemisphere. We have above average sea surface temperatures out here already in the Atlantic. So could mean we could have some more storms, maybe stronger storms for this upcoming Atlantic hurricane season.
And I'm sure we will until we are beaten into the ground to meet all of the Paris Climate Agreement, whatever IUPCC goals. Heavy rains were swelling many of Mozambique's main rivers. Meliane said that the Limpopo, Incombati, Maputo, Pungo, and Rovuma rivers have all risen to flood alert level. The prime minister added that so far about 50,000 houses have been destroyed or damaged, as well as 686 classrooms and 69 health units. The storms have also knocked down 194 electricity pylons. 11,000 kilometers of roads were damaged and 73,000 hectares of crops were inundated. 265 aquaculture tanks were destroyed and 86 fishing boats. 1,747 fishing nets were swept away. This is a lot of infrastructure and a lot of food system infrastructure. Of course, we know many of the things that we consume in the developed world are fished or caught or raised or mined in the developing world. In addition to the crops swamped, farmers lost 1,089 head of cattle and 31,378 chickens and other poultry. It's all about the animals, folks. The chickens just cannot catch a break. They're really going after the chickens. And I mean, 1,000 head of cattle is an enormous amount of food. You could feed so many people with that for a long time. Work was underway to repair the roads cut by the floods, including the placing of metallic bridges in places where the conventional bridges had been swept away. So this all got me thinking, guys. What is in Mozambique that may be valuable? I mean, what could be there? I mean, this whole strategy of destroying a country's infrastructure and just walloping it over and over and over again into total submission with these storms and flood events till there's basically nothing left and the country has no choice but to seek aid and seek assistance from whatever malevolent alphabet soup entity swoops in to quote unquote save the day. And so, as usual in the playbook of the West, when things get tight, when resources get tight, when cash gets tight, we just go loot the developing world. We go pillage and rape where we have not managed to pillage and rape just yet. And so I bring you this. What is in Mozambique? Mozambique has commercially important deposits of coal, high quality coking coal and thermal coal, graphite, iron ore, titanium, apatite, marble, bentonite, bauxite, kaolin, copper, gold, rubies, and tantalum. Mozambique holds some of the world's largest untapped coal deposits. In addition to hydroelectricity, Mozambique is endowed with an abundance of important minerals and natural resources that include gas, coal, titanium, ilmenite, zircon, rutile, marble, and a variety of precious stones and metals and so forth. So it sounds like if, for example, one was in the process of building a global technocracy that required enormous mineral supplies, that perhaps it would behoove one to absolutely annihilate a country such as Mozambique with the largest untapped mineral reserves in the world, and then come in with the typical UN IMF strategy of offering loans and offering infrastructure developments in exchange for the ability to acquire natural resources at fire sale prices. So that's really the big story. I mean, if you think that a cyclone, I mean, this is like Cyclone Freddy Krueger over here. This is just an absolute killer coming back multiple times, like your nightmare come to life to finish the job and just absolutely wallop this poor nation that cannot catch a break. The only mistake that they made was having a large amount of mineral reserves. Now, to wrap up, we're going to look at a few more of these flood events because I am seeing some serious trends developing. Here we have a volcano in Indonesia erupting. It just wants to be cool, guys. It saw all of these black plumes of smoke just erupting all over the earth, and it was like, I want to be included. Everybody's doing it. Red tide in Florida, that happens every year. Girl has her arm torn off in shark attack the day after a 14-year-old boy lost his leg at the same beach. I would say maybe don't go swimming at that beach. Look at this tornado that appeared in central France. Europe, not really historically a spot for tornadoes. It's fairly hilly. Tornadoes typically forming in places like the central and south central United States, where you have large tracts of flat land and the cyclone forming is not disturbed by the terrain. I would have to agree that both looks and sounds very apocalyptic, if I may wax poetic for a moment, as the finger of death reaches down from the heavens to rend and unmake all that man and his ilk have wrought and made. But enough of that. Let's move on, shall we? Brazil. Southern California, can't catch a break. People died in this blizzard. Very tragic. Here we go. Zambia, Africa. Ghana, Africa. What do these countries have in common other than the fact that they are being absolutely destroyed by flooding? That is, in my opinion, not entirely natural. Well, let's take a look. What could the globalists perhaps want in some of these places? Ghana, mineral resources? What mineral resources are found in Ghana? Rich mineral resources such as gold, diamonds, manganese, limestone, bauxite, iron ore, as well as various clays and granite deposits. Ghana is the second largest producer of gold in Africa. Well, when your paper money is worth absolutely nothing and hasn't been on the gold standard for over 50 years, I would imagine that acquiring some gold might be a good idea. What about Zambia? Zambia possesses one of the world's highest grade deposits of copper and is ranked the 7th largest copper producer in the world. In addition, Zambia is home to small exploitable deposits of cobalt, nickel. You mean the stuff that powers all of our devices and batteries? That's interesting. Emeralds, aquamarines, amethyst, and tourmalines. Cobalt, copper, and lithium. The green energy transition. Yeah, we definitely want more lithium ion batteries so that our entire goddamn world could just burst into flame and then there'll be nothing left. And we'll be all green. We'll be all green on a nice, clean rock with nothing living on it. All right, I think that's enough for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you all, and I hope you join me next time on my channel, and I know you will, and I know you'll be doing well. Just remember to laugh, and everything's going to be okay. Thanks for joining me. This is Specs signing off.